We are here with Pap and Dad Kruhm on his 49th year of marriage, 364 days. Tomorrow marks the big 5-0. Tell us a short story of your first meeting of Mom and Grandma Jean.
We actually met on the harbor in Charleston, and then I forget what it was called.
The Battery.
The Battery.
We were staying in the same hotel, so we met over the occasion of the pre-wedding rehearsal.
My first impression of Bob was he was showing off diving in the swimming pool in a plaid bathing suit and striped shirt. And I thought, what is this?
I could interpret Jean as saying, boy, this guy really needs a lot of work.
Other than his choice of clothing, he was taller than I, which is probably the prerequisite.
I mean, I was physically attracted to Jean. As a 24-year-old, that was part of what goes along with being 24. She had red hair, which was pretty outstanding. I thought that was cool.
He liked the fact that I had traveled to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew that that was part of your life and has been part of our lives of just traveling together. Our dating was pretty much every other weekend. When I worked, Bob would come to Washington. And then when I was off work, I would go to New York for the weekend.
Well, I was paid every other week. And so when Jean came to New York, we had good quality dinners, and we had wine and liquor and whatever needed to impress her that I had means, but it didn't last very long until the next 2-week paycheck. I mean, I think I was making maybe $6,000 a year and living in New York. I'd have to be very frugal after her visit.
I mean, we married less than a year after we met, but at our age, that was not real unusual.
Well, I had also told Jean right out front that I couldn't afford to get married until I was making at least $10,000 a year. I said, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to look around, and then fortunately, I found a job somewhat in that range in Washington, D.C. But when I gave her an engagement ring, I knew there was something right about it. We were at Normandy Farms, and it just seemed right. And I was trying to make sure it was a surprise, but
it was.
Well, not exactly. What happened?
Well, apparently, I'm forgetting the beginning details, but somehow I realized Bob had been talking to my parents when I wasn't there. So that made me a little bit suspicious. And then and that occurred specifically on a weekend. It involved, I knew that my mother thanked him for the cider that he had brought by. Why was he bringing cider by my parents' house? That was, and then there was a lot to do about the next weekend. We were going to go to Normandy Farms Inn, which is a well-known, popular place. And my whole family, my mother and particularly my father's sister, had a lot to say about what I was going to wear, which is not typical. We had talked and considered, and I think basically we were both in our life ready to make it, to make a change or to go further into our life, not try and stay where we were.
Your dad he warned me, this is not going to be easy, Bob, but I give my permission. And I've never done that. If you know me, I would never say such a thing to John or Jen's father.
Did John ever speak to you before?
He did, but I wouldn't tell him Well, let me tell you about Katrina.
I had red hair, and that was an excuse for a temper, or if I disagreed. It was unique. We got married at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. I actually wore the wedding gown that my friend wore that we went to her wedding in South Carolina.
Another blur in my life. It just went so fast. In those days, we didn't have all the after wedding activity in the church. It was a
Reception at the church,
reception at the church,
which the ladies of the church.
sandwiches. I couldn't wait to get away. I mean, let's go. You know. Diane had left the ring.
Had forgotten to bring the ring.
Okay. She was so busy. Diane was,
Right.
her roommate was so busy decorating the car.
Exactly.
She forgot all
Right.
about the ring. So she went back, and then you were notified. I think you knew about it before I did, because I don't think I knew about it, and my best man certainly didn't know about it till,
So what the florist had some gold
you know,
ribbon or cord-like ribbon that they had, and so they just twisted that into a. And no one told the minister, whose mouth apparently just about dropped. They were telling everybody to go look at Bob's ring. Well, he had his wedding ring on at that point.
still have it on.